Yeah. Fired up.
This one's for the drivers. Out in the shop, late night lights, grease on our hands, chasing lap times. Every turn, every line we find, trying to build that edge you feel when you drive. From the blacktop tracks to the dirt out back, we've been putting in work, yeah, we live like that. Not just fast for a lap, we make it last. So when it counts, you're gone on the gas. We don't guess, we know what it takes. Every set of build from the ground we break. If you want that feel when the car locks in, you're in the right place. Let's go win. Yeah, we built for the win. Hammer down, let it ride, do it all again. From the green flag flying to the checkered drop, we're the reason you're leading Tier 1 setup shop. Tier 1, take it straight to the front. League nights, open runs, we're the ones you want. Dialed in speed, yeah, we don't miss shots. If you wanna win races, Tier 1 setup shop. Got weekly sets ready to roll. Quality trim sharp, race pace controlled. Builders in the lab, yeah, they stay on it. Every tweak, every change, we gain on it. Need a custom fit, yeah, we do that too. Built to match your style, what you like to do. And it ain't just speed, it's a team right here. We ride together every lap, every gear. Yeah, we test, we tone, we put in the miles. Turn bad weeks into victory smiles. From rookies to pros, we're all about growth. Now fight that motor, let's get to the front. Yeah, we built for the win. Hammer down, let it ride, do it all again. From the green flag flying to the checkered drop, we're the reason you're leading Tier 1 setup shop. Tier 1, yeah, you know the name. When the pressure's on, we bring the game. From the shop to the track, yeah, we don't stop. If you wanna win races, Tier 1 setup shop. Tier 1. Till we build, till we build, till we build. Tier 1 setup shop.
Looking to take your racing to the next level? You need speed and you need style. At Tier 1 Setup Shop, we'll help you hit the track with total confidence. We provide race-winning setups for all three eNASCAR series, Cup, Xfinity, and trucks, plus a huge variety of asphalt oval cars. We've also brought that performance to the dirt. Winged and non-winged sprint cars, micro sprints, dirt midgets, all built by racers who know how to win. And now, get the perfect look. We offer professional wraps and graphics with Tier 1 wraps. Multiple feature artists make it easy to find a design to fit your exact needs and budget. Get what you need when you need it with individual setup purchases, or get full weekly access with a Tier 1 subscription. Tier 1 Setup Shop. You're more than a customer, you're part of the team.
This isn't just another sim race, this isn't just another online league, and this isn't just another trophy on a shelf. This is the Charity Cup Series.
Drivers choose the charity. Talent chooses the winner. The culture is strong, but the competition is stronger. Most events focus on just one cause, not here. Each driver selects a charity to race for, leaving dozens of causes in contention as drivers fight for a place in the top 5.
Think you've got what it takes to join the Charity Cup Series? Find a cause you believe in and buckle up. This is more than your everyday sim racing experience. This is the Charity Cup Series.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tier 1 Studios. My name's Pat Wilkinson, up in the booth. Joining me today is not the voices inside my head or my good friends, myself and I. It is the one and only Jake Sparry. out here tonight with the Aino Image Racing GR86 Cup here on iRacing at historic Lime Rock Park. Jake, welcome back up to the booth. It's good to be back.
It's a pleasure to be back, and this is going to be a second round where we saw good battling in the opening attempt, then that went through at Tsukuba. But Lime Rock Park is one of these tracks that has that old school feel to it in Lakeville, Connecticut. Has seen so many different types of racing find itself here over the years, which includes the likes of actually IMSA that has come along and has battled along here. These brilliant corners, this circuit out there in terms of the Lime Rock Park layout today, it's chicanes layout that we now look to hit. 5, 6, and 7, the uphill section instead of that fast-flowing right. A long looping chicane at the West Bend to go and set steady. This is going to be one of those where if you're good at this place, you're really going to start waking up and understanding it. If you're not so good, you might get away with it because of the factor that everybody is going to be going out and realizing there aren't many places to go and gain big amounts of time here.
Couldn't agree with you more. Historic Lime Rock Park, pretty much my home track out here in the beautiful state of Connecticut in New England. As we have less than 4 minutes to go here in practice. So far, Electroshock in the number 75 car, running pretty good times. He's down in 5th at the moment, or they're down in 5th at the moment, excuse me. Danak Kalmari up to 1st in the number 54, Isaac Umbras in 2nd, and Karak Karatis in 3rd in the number 19. A lot of fast cars out here tonight. Only 15 cars in the session, so a little bit smaller field than we saw a few weeks ago, but I still think we're going to have one heck of a race out here at Lime Rock Park in this fantastically difficult chicane version. It's not a huge difference, but yes, I will agree. Those added corners will greatly challenge a lot of drivers, as I was actually fooling around in spectator mode, because you can actually drive around in iRacing in spectator mode, fun fact. It was putting me through my paces, even I will admit, as Electroshock goes down the hill and around the final corner and onto the front stretch once again.
Yeah, that's going to be a pull down into pit lane, so Electroshock is going to be there in that 5th position, and Danak Kamari then will be very happy with the way things have gone in practice at the moment, because we are just a couple minutes away from the 15 minutes of qualifying getting set. 3 laps available out there to go and set and get yourself ready, but I would be turning around and saying this is a unique circuit in just how difficult it is with a circuit that used to be once upon a time a circuit with only one left-hand corner. It's now one that has a couple more up the hill to work with, so you've got 2 or 3 left-handers, so those are the updates that help to bring this circuit up to the grading standards necessary to give a lot more safety around this track, but also as part of the Aino Image VTuber Cup, very much a track that falls in the philosophy of 3 tracks only, with the exception, of course, of the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, which does have to be a paid track due to the stance change that's gone along there. So I would be looking around then at this circuit going, you've had infinite time to go and practice, you've got to get yourself up to level, but there are natures and profiles of certain parts of this corner, I don't know how you feel about it, Pat, that make a huge change.
Well, this track is definitely a New England classic in terms of the racing world. Arguably, I think it is one of the older tracks in New England. Don't know how old it is offhand, but yes, I will agree. Very tight, very technical track, especially with the likes of NASCAR also joining IMSA here. I don't believe that IndyCar races here, but I do know some of the Junior Formula Series and the SCCA all come here from time to time. Even the 24 Hours of Lemons race here in real life. So this place is definitely not a simple racetrack by any means. This place will really put you through your paces, and in my opinion, this is one of the all-time greatest racetracks in the world. Sure, the Nürburgring's out there. Sure, Le Mans is out there, as the 24 Hours of Le Mans just ended a few hours ago. But this place holds something special. It is truly just a classic-style racetrack. No fancy grandstands, no big viewing areas. You show up, you get a ticket, and you find a nice corner of the field to go enjoy your evening and afternoons at. as we watch the number 722 of Isaac Umbras down the hill and around the final corner, up in second place.
Yeah, doing very good in this practice, and the understanding is going to be, right, we're just about to bring that to a close. They'll move into that qualifying session. So this was your chance to really play about here in these Toyota GR86s. A lovely car that helps you to understand the ways that tin tops work in iRacing. This is probably your setup to get yourself into GT4, to get yourself into GT3. It's a lovely car to go and work with. And actually what it does as well is it sets you up brilliantly with all the tools that you need to go quick, because the one thing you're fighting against on this car out there as you're going for it, Pat, is critically going to be the tires. They're going to be important, as well as the traction control. You can't switch off the traction control. You just have to find a way to not aggravate it as you're going round.
Jumping on board with Ruku Takahashi in the number 48 machine out here tonight as we get rolling. Getting out onto the racetrack off of pit road, trying to scrub in those tires just a little bit here at Lime Rock, over the curbs just a little bit, trying to use as much of the racetrack. Also, something that I was personally finding was these guys and girls and everybody else out here are going to be really struggling to fight is the traction control on these cars. Yes, believe it or not, these cars do have it, and I was finding myself really struggling to fight against it in some of the corners. It does tend to send you for a ride if you're not careful in your braking zones. Then again, I'm not the best driver anyway, so that only says more about myself than anybody else. As we go down the hill with Ruku Takahashi and into the final corner, and down the front stretch, opening up their first flying lap out here at Lime Rock.
Right, let's get a little look then on what a lap is around here, because you've got Big Bend coming up first and foremost here. Turns 1 and 2 off of the Sam Posey straight. You've got to try and tip it in about 117 clicks. It is before trying to hit the brakes a little bit more to get the rotation out of the corner and into the left-hander. Turn number 3. You've got to set yourself up here, because again, you're slowly decreasing the radius of speed before turn 4 comes along. Right-hander, and very easy to catch the barriers on the outside if you're carrying too much speed. Now along what is sometimes known as the no-name straight out there, or if you're a big fan of the Grand Tour, the isn't, and into the uphill section. Massive climb up this hill over the anti-cut curbs. Be careful not to clatter them too hard. It's more of a worry in open formula than it is here in these GT86s, and a big wide line at the west chicane. Try and get yourself to square as soon as possible. Little kick of slide, then under the bridge and down into the downhill to finish off a lap here at Lime Rock Park. That's one of the 3 available to Ruku Takahashi, and then making that cross over to the stripe. It's a ways down there, 105.9 to gear things up, about 8/10 off of the time set in practice.
Definitely a good run so far. A very nice opening lap as the 89 of Jordi Carrera and 722 of Isaac Umbras both set even faster laps. Caritas up to first now in the number 19, 103.370. Hugely fast run. Ruku Takahashi currently down in 8th. Hopefully they can really turn up the wick a little bit here. Again, though, I will agree, this is not the easiest track to learn on. Despite this being more of, in my opinion, of the beginner's racetrack in terms of its overall size and how many configurations of this track there are, this place is not easy. You have to really work these cars nicely, and that's not just even these GR86 cars that we're racing out here tonight. That's the GT4s, Formulas. GT3 was here a few weeks ago on iRacing, and it's like, I am not touching that, because those GT3 cars are very wide, and it feels like you're taking up half the road. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Ruku Takahashi did not improve. He's falling down to 11th at the moment. 2.5 seconds behind the leader, Keira Caritas, still holding first.
Yeah, Keira Caritas is very much on top at the moment. Didn't run at the opening round of the season. Is now in a position to feel quite comfortable with the third attempts being taken by various drivers now out there, the likes of JJ to Traveller, for example. Fourth currently on a 3.6, which is also shared by Isaac Umbras and Danat Kalmari, who's only there on a 3.6 at the moment. So there is pace to be had. There is certainly times that can be unlocked with it, but you're just hoping that you have got yourself what you need. There's still drivers, 5 who haven't set a time, which includes the likes of Daedalus Fulgiri, Black Hawk Arc, Biggie Hugs, and Jordi Ferrer Moreno, another one who has not been able to go and set. Final corner then approaches, and to the line for the final time, Ruki Takahashi to a 105.6 only, so wasn't able to get that one to set up as necessary, as drivers like Ramon Serra, for example, currently 10th fastest then on a 104.3.
Plenty of fast cars out here tonight, really showing their stuff. We still have 3 cars yet to qualify. Black Hawk Arc, Biggie Hugs, and Jordi Ferrer in the numbers 25, 14, and 69, as we're on board with the 93 of Ramon Serra, excuse me, as we go through the chicanes, clipping the inside a little bit too hard there through that second turn and up the hill. If you go fast enough in some of the GT3 cars on the wider quarter configuration, you will actually be catching air over that hill. I've seen it myself because I was there not too long ago for a retro IMSA event, and that was fun. Just cars catching air and lifting over the hills. So we're going across the start-finish line. Excuse me, I'm fumbling all over myself. Ramon Serra up to 7th in the number 93.
Now, only needs 0.2 of a second here, or a quarter of a second, to get to the front row. So this is definitely not out of the realms of possibility out there of trying to improve. Black Hawk and Jordi Ferrer, by the way, are now out on their sighter laps. So you got this staggered sense of what qualifying is going to be, that you don't have to set your lap immediately. Some drivers will elect to wait for the final chance. This is the last attempt for Ramon Serra. And going over the curb like that is going to abandon that one immediately. That is an off-track incident point, and pushing too hard to get that one on the brakes then to the uphill, what is sometimes known as the optional uphill section. So ultimately, that's going to be no good, which leaves Black Hawk Arc out there on a lap right now. As far as practice times went, 105.1, and a 5.1 will only beat Ruku Takahashi out there at the moment. Has got to find a way to get to at least a 104.5.
This is, again, a very difficult track to kind of figure out, but there is plenty of opportunity to learn this track in the car, especially in these GR86 Cup cars. These are great beginner-class racing vehicles to learn in, alongside the Mazda MX-5s and the brand new to iRacing, G87, I believe, BMW M2 competition cars. We're on board now with the 25 of Black Hawk Arc. Coming back across the start-finish line, I believe this is his first flying lap. We get ready to go racing in just a few minutes. Qualifying ticking towards the end. Got to make sure that these guys set a qualifying time before they do so. Otherwise, they will be starting at the tail end of the field.
So 5.8 over the line, as Jordi Ferrer behind does a 104.8, which is good enough to go to 13th position. Only Biggie Hugs hasn't gone out then, and has 7 minutes to go out there and set a lap time, with a lap time around here comprising of 65 seconds. Effectively has 3 minutes to wait before that opportunity basically has the door closing. But Black Hawk Arc here has got to try and be a little bit more aggressive, I feel, with the lines. If you want to go and gain the time here at Lime Rock Park, you've got to be committed into the corners. Very shallow is the line in. You can be a lot more aggressive to the outside to arc and cut the corner, what we'd call diamonding the line through the West Chicane. So Black Hawk Arc, I think, is going for a safe approach out there with these qualifying attempts, not willing to risk the marks too much. Is there an improvement? Oh yes, a big one. 0.8 goes to a 5 flat. And now I think it's going to be comfortable with that, and it's going to pull that over to one side and say, I can't go any faster. Jordi Ferrer crosses and does a 104.5, leapfrogs Daedalus Fulgiri to go to 12th, but still needs to find a half a tenth to leapfrog João Marquez.
69 of Jory Ferrer still out on track. Everybody but Biggie Hugs with a time out here today at Lime Rock Park. Not sure if he missed the session or had to get pulled away. We continue settling in and watching Jordy Ferrer running that number 69 car over the curbs again, a little bit aggressive. I know for a fact as well, if you clip them too far, you will get a 1X or an incident point out on the racetrack for cutting the corner, going nice and tight through this final chicane and down the hill. Again, you got to be really careful with how much you cut the corners on the grass, because you will get a penalty for it, and the lap time will be scrubbed from your qualifying run. Let's see if the 69 can improve. We go across the start-finish line. Still down in 12th.
It was an improvement. It was an improvement of about 400, but not enough to go and see a bigger enough improvement to gain an extra place. So João Marquez is going to be safe in that position. And so as far as qualifying goes, got about 5 minutes here. If Biggie Hugs is able to get back out onto circuit in the next minute, we're going to see a chance to see all the laps. Otherwise, this session is going to tick on over until we see the conclusion out there. Nice garden gnome out there on circuit. Very nice to see. But Keira Karatash in control of this one by a good 0.2 of a second. I think we've got a bit of a shake-up here in this round with Danat Kalmari down in 5th place. This is not going to be as easy as the Denak show.
I couldn't agree with you more. Tsukuba 2000 we were at a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now that I think about that a little bit harder. We had some really fast drivers out there at Tsukuba, and Danak was right up there in the battle for the lead for the majority of it. To see him down in 5th place, does throw a bit of a spanner into the works. So, as we do have a minute or two to see if Biggie Hugs will set a qualifying time, Jake, who do you think is going to be your pick for the race win out here today at Lime Rock Park?
Well, I think it's a very difficult question that you're going to sit yourself down with, because I think picking a winner over the course of action that you've got is a huge difference compared to what you would see when the form book is a little bit more put together. So with it being such a shake-up, I would be looking around at someone who, over the course of an hour, is able to roll with the punches, is able to go and work really well with it, and also, as we start the gridding up process here, doesn't have to worry too much about where they are. They just know when the right time is to make that move. I'm looking forward to see what Jordi Carrera can do.
As we start getting gridded up. Hang on, where's active? There it is. Kyra Caritas up in first, Jordi Carrera in second, Isaac Umbras, in third, JJ Traveler in fourth, Danak Kalmari in fifth, Dirty Kowai in sixth, Raymond Sarah in seventh, Ramon Sarah. God, I'm all over the place today. David Katz in eighth, Electroshock in ninth, Zul Akahara, in 10th. We jump down towards the rear of the field. 11th is, oh God, how do you say that? Joao? Joao. P. Marquez, Jordi Ferrier, Datus Fulguri, Blackhawk Arc, Ruku Takahashi, and Biggie Hugs. Biggie Hugs is actually on the racetrack at the tail end of the field. He just wanted to start at the end of the field. Not sure if that is a strategy choice out here tonight, but it's going to work out for him in the end, I think.
I think it's a penalty. I think that's a penalty, so would have been told excluded from qualifying and have to go from the back, because we did have race control actually advance the session in qualifying in towards this race. An hour as they will go, and they will go behind the Porsche iRacing first safety car out there, which will take them around as they will look to try and get the tyre temperature up to speed. Track temperature, hot one today here, 42 degrees track temperature. So these tires are going to understeer like anything. They are going to get hot. You're going to see a lot of lateral movement out there from the cars. So I would be looking at these GT86s, and I would be getting slightly concerned out there by the time they get to their stops that they might need to take some tire changes out there today.
There is a one mandatory pit stop rule in effect, as the fixed setup on these cars has been changed since the last race. We had to do so because we were unable to fully enforce the one pit stop mandatory rule. So we've reduced the fuel load to only 30%, which will be more than happy to get you through a majority of a half hour's worth of racing as we come through the final corners and down the hill, getting ready to go racing here at Lime Rock Park. Kara Caritas up in the lead of this race on control in the number 19, excuse me. We waiting on the pace car down pit road this time.
So they set themselves up. Kyra Caritas will lead us to the green, which drops, and we are underway from Lime Rock Park. Jordi Carrera is going to get swarmed here, and they're going to Fanta 3, nearly 4 wide, here into the Big Bend, really fighting hard. There's contact, and immediately off wide is JJ the Traveller, and there's more dramas in the middle. Massive smash up through the middle there, as that is going to be disaster for Dirty Kohai. David Katska drops back. Jordi Ferrer then off the back of the group as well, and a big slide causing out the breakage needed from the front of the field for Kyra Caritas.
Kara Caritas up in the lead. Huge one into turn 1 off the start, 4 wide into turn 1. I knew that was coming the minute I saw that move for 3 wide. It's like, oh no, someone's going to stick their nose in for 4 wide as we go over the top of the hill. Kara Caritas in the 19 leading the way through the final chicane and down the hill once again. Jordi Carrera, Isaac Umbras, Dinak Kalmari, and Ramon Serra right there behind her. As we roll off the final turn and down the front stretch, we are still racing out here tonight at Lime Rock Park. First lap completed of the hour, 1 minute 10. It will only be getting faster from here on out.
There's a lunge from third position then. That's Dinak Kalmari down the inside, and there's going to be 1 off. There's going to be 2 off then at turns 1 and 2. Jordi Carrera overshoots it, loses the spot, now goes side by side with Ramon Serra, and critically, Isaac Umbra is now behind Zul Akihara.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with you. Down in 7th, on board with Isaac Umbras in the 722, behind the 21 of Zul Akihara. Or Akihara, excuse me. Up the hill we go once again, charging into the final chicane. A lot of team paints out here today. I believe Zul and Isaac are both running for the same team out here tonight, as I believe Jordi and Joao? That's going to keep screwing me up. I apologize. Joao Marquez currently in 4th and 5th ahead of them. We go down the front stretch once again. A lot of good drivers out here tonight, trying to get settled in early. Some guys being a little too aggressive. David Katz has reportedly crashed, along with Dirty Kohai off track. Kohai down pit road.
Oh, Isaac, hold on, and is going to manage so. Avoids contact between the 2 Techno Burst machines then that work through, but critically, it's going to be Umbra who holds over Akihara for position, and this is what we're seeing. Drivers looking to push hard through turns 1 and 2, over pushing their marks, and ultimately having to find many a way to hold themselves steady. They've lost contact to Joao Marquez then in 5th place, and it's leaving a lot of work to be done out here in the early stages of the race.
Jumping back up to our leader, Kara Caritas up in the lead, about 1.6 seconds ahead of Dinak Kalmari as we charge down the front stretch. Jordi Carrera behind Ramon Serra, trying to keep up, running a little bit wide off that final turn as the rest of the field is starting to spread out. Dirty Kohai is still down pit road. Not sure if he had a incident or not, but they're just leaving pit road now.
definitely had an incident, and that was at the uphill chicane. Basically got tapped around after contact there. So ultimately, as far as the rule set of this race goes, you get 3 fast repairs available to you. That will be 1 life burn.
2 more lives left for Dirty Kowai as we get settled back in with the leader. Let's jump back down into the field. Let's go down to JJ Traveler, currently down in 10th place at the moment, watching Deldis and Electroshock just ahead of him, trying to keep up. Plenty of cars and plenty of action around him. Plenty of people to work with. That draft on the front stretch and down the straight after the hill will definitely be helping him. The question is, will he be able to reel in the 12 and 75 just ahead of him, as the rest of the field is starting to run away from everybody out here. Caritas still improving, but not by much. 54 of Danak Kalmari reeling them in. 1.3 seconds behind now as we go through turn 1 with the 45.
Yeah, so that is a gap of 0.3 that has been brought down. JJ to Traveller looking for a way to get around Daedalus Fulgiri, but Daedalus at this moment in time, I think, has just been holding ground well in the middle of this group. Doesn't quite get the run there through turn 4. Couldn't get it off to the outside much enough. So now this opens up JJ to Traveller to lunge down the inside into the uphill chicane, and manages that without any worries at all, and a lot of room given out there. And I suppose you could catch the old coach here over from Lime Rock Park to move on through on that overtake, because there was enough room for about 2 or 3 coaches to go and park in there, as Daedalus Fulgiri runs a little wide there in the background. JJ to Traveller now will focus on Electroshocks, who's in P8.
Let's jump a little bit further down. Let's go down to Biggie Hugs, currently down in 14th, no, not 14th, I read the number wrong. Currently down in 11th, my apologies. After not qualifying and barely running any practice out here, he's doing great. They're up to 11th after starting stone dead last out here. Made up 5 positions in the early stages of this race. Still plenty of time to go out here at Lime Rock Park as we go through the S's and towards the uphill chicane. Once again in the number 14 Toyota GR86 car out here. Of course, we already know that, sorry. I don't know why I'm so messed up today. It's not a good day for me for some reason. A lot of cars really clipping the no-clip rumble strips on the inside of the turns through the chicane. Got to be a little more careful with that. These cars do ride low, and the suspension can get twisted up, or you can break wheels over it. I know that, speaking from experience in the BMW Cups and in some of the Formula Series. Of course, the Formula cars are a little more fragile. Whoa! Oh, I thought those were 2 cars sliding off the track. At the front of the field, I forgot that's a right-hand turn.
Yeah, so what you'll see with those sections is just in the background, there goes Dirty Kohai to the inside, then trying to take the lap back on Ruku Takahashi, and does so. What you will find is when you get to the uphill section, you need to use as much curb as you can. It will give you a way through. Speaking of which, Joao Marquez now fighting with Ramon Serra for 4th position, who's dropped down a little bit of pace as well. So the number 93 now really under pressure at this moment, with Isaac Umbras now sitting onto the back of this, wanting to try and get through. You want to attack the curbs as much as you can, because when you take the wheels off, you get the influx of grip when you come back over the hill. Very touring car-esque or TCR-like. You've got to try and get to influx the grip. Give yourself more as you go about. It's very difficult to do, but if you get the basics right, you're going to start flying and getting a dream. As now, here comes the move. Isaac Umbras thinking the inside, block thrown by Joao Marquez, saying, nah, not yet.
Beautiful move from the 103 of Joao Marquez, trying to fend off the 722 while still chasing down the 93 of Ramon Serra just ahead of him, Isaac Umbra behind. A lot of great racing in the midfield of this pack, as Caritas is still losing time to Danak Kalmari in the 54 within 1 second now, or just about to be. Jordi Carrera over 3.5 seconds back off of Kalmari. We approach the 10-minute marker into this race. Everything's still going pretty well, all things considered. Dirty Kowai, again, having to use that extra life in the first 10 minutes. Not a great start, and is 1 lap down currently. but there's still plenty of time. You never know what's going to happen here at Lime Rock. This place is renowned for that. You can get anything to happen here at this track, and I expect it's going to at some point right around the pit stops.
Yeah, anything can happen, and it normally does in sim racing, and Lime Rock Park has a flair of the unpredictable about it, despite it being a circuit that is one of the most clockwise circuits you can possibly find out there on the iRacing service that's not an oval. So, at least for the moment, they are starting to form back up again here. Isaac Umber, Zul Akihara as well, remaining steadfast and close, looking for drive here, and that's going to be a case of being stuck. A lovely run by Zul, trying to go and get that pass sorted, but Isaac Umbers has that scouted as they work through into the uphill chicane. And really, it's a case of if you can plant the car in the middle of the road, Pat, you've got a great chance of defending. Not maybe here at some of the more expanded sections out there, but especially as you come out through 1 to 4, that section of the road, middle of the road, you ain't finding a way through. You've got to be very, very precise at where you defend, not just if you defend.
Couldn't agree with you more. This track does get wider and narrower at some points, and that's part of what makes it some great racing, especially in these smaller cars, because sometimes you think you have the space to do it, but it's just not big enough. We jump up to Danak Kalmari, still trying to reel in the 19 of Kara Caritas. This is the battle for the lead, slowly reeling in the 19 at the moment. We charge through this section you were just talking about, the narrower section out here on the racetrack, into the uphill chicanes, very wide over the curbs. Got to be a little more careful than that, Danak, as we charge up the hill and down the no-name straight into the final chicanes. A lot of racing going on. Still Danak trying to reel in this number 19, having lost a third of a second, may have been due to the going wide over that curb on the uphill chicane. Got to be a little more careful than that. That is what's going to get you in the long run. Don't want to break the cars too early. The track is hot. Let the track come down to temperature a little bit more as we continue racing. The grip from the tires will wear into the track. I'm going to say if people take tires at the mandatory pit stop for fuel, I'd say this racetrack is going to be even faster in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and pace, I think, is going to be a real big key out here on a circuit that has a lot of history and a lot of legacy that goes around for it. For example, of course, Sam Posey Straight, named after Sam Posey, racing driver and broadcast journalist out there in the world of motorsport. Had 2 starts in Formula 1, 1971 and 1972, both in the US Grand Prix, a best finish of 12th. On that occasion, raced for the Surtees racing team out there, did Sam, and that translated to a lot of Trans Am efforts out there, featured in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which is, of course, run this weekend, a best finish alongside Tony Adamovitz in 1972 of 2nd position in that regard. And critically to that as well, as there's side-by-side again between Umbers and Joao Marquez, as Danak continues to try and have that gap stay stable at around 1.5 seconds. There's the look around the outside, trying to get that move. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between them, and that's going to push Marquez then into a place where he's stuck on the outside for turn 3. Move done and secured. Oh, and there's contact front to rear, and they'll hold it together in that regard. There is also the sense of the likes of the work that was done as a broadcaster as well for the Indy 500 for Sam Posey, who was leading out to there, and also did a bit of work on the Tour de France 1989 and 1990.
You sure you know your stuff? You're showing me up over here. It's all good. Some great action from Isaac Umbrook, Joao Marquez, and Zul Akihara as we come through the final chicane and down the hill once more. Isaac Umbros with a beautiful move through turn 1, managed to get around the 103 of Joao Marquez and fought really hard through that final, through that tight section we were discussing just a few minutes ago. This is the great racetrack ever for me. We see another move. Sorry.
Zul Akihara chucked it in from a mile back, had to jam on the binders better than what the anthill mob could do with 12 feet, trying to get that slowed up. Lovely stuff, but critically, that's going to be a little fear in the rear mirror there from João Marquez here in this sandwich, which is currently on Techno Burst bread.
Also, that little bit of contact with the 103 of João Marquez and Isaac Umbras on that last lap doesn't seem to have affected anything on my screen anyway. I do have to run at reduced graphics due to my large monitor size. My GPU just can't keep up with it. Everything looks good on these cars. Bumpers are still on. Nothing's caved in. I say that was a lucky escape for all parties involved as Zul Akihara makes another move down the straight, trying to get on the inside once again, forcing the 103 to the inside as we charge down the front stretch into turn 1. João Marquez on the inside. Zul Akihara to the outside through turn 1, still side by side, trying to copy his teammate in Isaac Umbras as we go through turns 1 and into 2, and back around to the tight technical section. Zul Akihara in the 21 having to back out a little bit earlier. Not quite as brave as Isaac that time around, but I think he made the point across that he is coming for blood.
I think Zul's going to sit back here, look at João Marquez and go, right, the outside didn't work. I'm going to have to find my way on one of these corners over to the inside. And it's not as simple as, oh, I just chuck it down the inside and it sticks. You have to really work and find a way to make it happen. As I note, Daedalus Fulgiri has had to miss the chicane entirely and take the uphill section from the old style of the circuit. So that's going to cost a lot of time there on the slowdown penalty that is still currently right now here, Pat, being served.
Dirty Koi and Jordi Ferrer, currently both down a lap, down in 15th and 16th. Let's jump down towards the tail end of the field. Let's go down to David Katz. I haven't been on board with him yet. David Katz down in 12th, 30 seconds behind the leader at the moment. Ruku Takahashi currently 4.5 behind him as we go through turn 1 in the Dr. Pogger number 41 machine. A lot of fun paint jobs out here. Sometimes this is the great thing about some of these lower class cars that come for free with iRacing. You get to see more of the creative side of trading paints in iRacing as we watch the Dr. Pogger number 41 turning laps out here today. Not the fastest car on track, but definitely having a good time. Only about 3 seconds behind, or 2 or 3 seconds behind Daedalus Fulguri, trying to catch up to 11th place. Still plenty of time to go out here as we're approaching the 20-minute mark, about 1/3 of the way into this race.
And they'll be thinking about pit stops in about 10 minutes' time and making that call to get down onto the lane, get service sorted, and then get themselves back out for the second half. So for David Katz, I would look around at this race. Yeah, got caught up early on, has dropped the time. Ultimately running lap times here in the 104.2s, which is about half a second a lap slower than what the leaders are doing currently. But a circuit like this one here, it almost exacerbates more because it's such a short lap. This is only a 2.4 kilometer circuit out there, or basically I would say you're in the cookie cutter distance of how long this is in miles. I would look at David Katz and go, half a second a lap here might be 2 seconds at a bigger circuit out there on the iRacing service.
Lime Rock Park just short of 1.5 miles out here in this current configuration. Obviously, I don't know what it would be in its longest configuration, because I don't know which one that would be. But David Katz still running a good race out here down in 12th. We'll jump up into the field a little bit. Let's go up to Biggie Hugs once again, under pressure from JJ Traveler. Right behind him, Biggie Hugs and Traveler duking it out down into turn 1. Traveler with a look up the inside, doesn't quite have the speed to do it. Made the effort to try, but backed out of it a little bit smartly, in my opinion. That would have been a bit brave to try any harder at. If you go too hard into that turn, more likely than not, you're either going to sail through somebody or sail into the grass on the far side of turn 1. This place is very unforgiving in terms of its design. It's, again, very narrow, but it's deceptively fast, even in this chicane configuration. You're still reaching speeds of, in these cars, I'm assuming, better part of 120 miles an hour. You're not expecting all the time these tight technical turns, especially this chicane at the top of the hill. This place catches me out all the time when I'm racing here. But yes, going back to the pit stop talk, Question is, do people try and go for a two-stop strategy, make the most of what they have, particularly Dirty Koi, João Marquez, and Jordi Ferrer? Try to go for a two-stop strategy, go for just a splash and dash, no tires, no nothing, and do the best you can to get back on the lead lap. Sorry?
That's João Marquez out of the race, has pulled it then into the garage and has retired the car. So we will lose one then from this field. Real shame, because João Marquez had a really good start to this race. So suddenly this becomes a case of, okay, now you're going to have to try and go and gather up your resources over to round 3 of the championship. And, you know, it makes life exponentially harder when you are just trying to go out there and you're just not going to get the result as it goes on by. So there we focus on, this is not a battle for position between Ruku Takahashi, but one thing that is a slowdown for Daedalus Fulgiri. So David Katz gets a place.
Apologies, trying to catch up with you there as I was trying to see what happened to João Marquez while we were on the air there. Going through my timesheet, trying to see what was going on. Back on board with David Katz, Daedalus Fulguri, right behind him again, falling back down in 10th and 11th positions. Ruku Takahashi up 3 since the start. He's starting to make up some good time here in that number 48 car. Let's jump up a little bit further. Let's go up to Electroshock in the number 75. Haven't been on board with him since practice, I believe. A little bit behind Zul Akihara, currently down in about 3 seconds on Akihara as we go up the hill through the chicanes and into the no-name straight once again in the yellow, white, and purple carbon-hooded number 75 out here today.
Looking for a way to jump up here is Electroshocks, currently started 9th, is +2 into 7th position, about 3 seconds at the last lap check behind Zul Akihara, but critical also will be the fact that Keira Karatash has just quietly been extending that margin here over to Nat Kalmari. It's now out to 3.3 seconds here in this race, and Kalmari himself under pressure. The Finn will be looking at the 89 of Jordi Carrera. You can see it just there in the back of shot, that is a pressure situation, and while it's not immediate, it is of course a concern that you've got a car within a second behind you.
Jumping over to the 89 of Jordi Carrera, right behind Danak Kalmari as we go up the hill and into the final chicane. I will agree with you, the pressure is definitely on this 54. You can see it in how hard he's driving, clipping both the insides of the turns through the top end chicane, and down the hill we go. Still on board with the 89, past the start finish, or down the front stretch and past the start finish line. Trying to draft off of each other isn't really working for them at the moment, I don't feel. Maybe the 89 is just too far back, or they would prefer to have at least one more car up there with them. Try and make the most of the straight line speed while they have it down the straights to try and catch up to the might of Kara Karatas in the number 19, leading the way, almost 4 seconds up on Danak Kalmari and 4.5 up on Jordi Carrera as we go through the the tight section through the S's and into the first uphill chicane. A lot of good drivers not having a great night out here tonight. Dirty Kohai has crashed according to the time screen. Let's jump and take a look.
Well, this will be through turn 1, and it's just a slide, nothing more, nothing less. So into turn 1, back steps out then under braking. I think that's just grabbing a little bit too much then, or maybe there's a little bit of throttle bleed that goes through in that section where you're grabbing throttle and brake at the same time. It's what we would call to try and trail brake to rotate into the corner. Looked like a little bit too much of that from Dirty Kohai, and ultimately it's not going to cost much. It is going to cost, though, a little bit of time right now, being stuck in 14th position. This is damage limitation, needing help from drivers being either a little bit too slow or running into difficulties.
Dirty Kohai trying to make the most of a bad situation out here, prevent it from going any worse. Track temp is coming down. We're down 3 degrees since the start of the race. We're down to 104 out of 107 degrees. 10-mile-an-hour wind from the south as we continue settling in and get ready to start thinking about pit stops in the next 5 minutes as we jump up to Deldeus Fulguri in the 12, running down the 53 of Dirty Kohai, not for position, trying to put the 53 of Kohai down a lap Number 12 putting on some good speed here, running a little bit wide over the curbs through the S's and into the chicane once again. 5 minutes to pit
deep.
stops. Whoa, over the curbs.
Yeah, just overcooking that brake marker, and you have yourself a sight line where you can say, right, this is where I need to hit my marks in order to get it into the corner properly. I think Daedalus Fulgari has got that a little bit over-pushed to what is needed. Maybe, I would argue here, Pat, has that down with a car that is on light fuel in comparison to what this is with heavier fuel. In fact, it's going to come down in and take service. So when you've got a car that's not really responding the way you want it to, you're probably looking around going, yeah, pit stop now is probably the right decision because it gets you the chance to reset, give yourself clean air, a different perspective, and then go and attack again in the second half of the race.
Ruku Takahashi also down pit road this time. We will jump up to Danak Kalmari, see who else is going to try and be a taker for pit road. This time by on board with the second place car. First, second, and third staying out. Ramon Serra still out with them. Isaac Umbras and Zul Akihara staying out as well. A lot of cars choosing to stay out still, trying to make the most of the mileage they have left. Make the most of the slipstream as well. It's not helping them a lot, but anything you can save on the straights, which is, of course, where you're bleeding the most fuel, you are going to be able to save just that little bit more as the 89 goes way wide over the grass, leaving dirt all over the racing surface there. Got to be a little more careful than that. A lot of cars trying to push the limits here, struggling to keep their lines together as you're right, these cars are getting lighter and lighter. Fuel is running out, and the track is starting to come in to the cars as a little bit better as we continue to the halfway mark. About 5 minutes left to halfway.
Got a lovely scrap right now between Electroshocks, Biggie Hugs, and JJ to Traveller, who are all together on circuit right now, heading up to the optional west chicane, and there goes JJ to Traveller, lunging down the inside. It's looked like Biggie Hugs is going to be the one who goes to attack. He gets pinched low onto the curb, nowhere to go to get drive off for the exit, so JJ just comfortably snipes that one off, and that gives Electroshock here a chance to run away, the Czechian driver who is looking to try and just say, look, I want to run, I need to get away, I need to just be on full focus mode, and that is a nice reprieve, but that's wide through turns 1 and 2, and suddenly JJ gets to the door, says, look, I'm going to get myself right in yo business, trying to get around the outside's not going to get the run, now looking for a big line here at turn 4 to open up the overtake, and here comes the run.
Here we go, a couple of cars of JJ Traveller up into the grass. Still trying to fight this 75. Gotta be careful. Very tight over the curbs. JJ Traveller almost overdoing it as we go through the chicane and up the hill. Has to back out to Electroshock and Biggie Hugs right there around him. 45 being a little over-aggressive in my opinion. Nothing wrong with that, but you have to realize you can't win it in a lap. You still have half an hour of racing to go. Strategy sometimes is more important than running the race you want and being aggressive with it, as Biggie Hugs and Zul Akihara go down pit road this time. 75 and 45 of Electroshock and JJ Traveller back down into turn 1. This fight still going on.
Well, it's a team strategy between Biggie Hugs and Zul Akihara to stop when they have done. They've gone at exactly the same point. They've got the same fuel mileage by the looks of things. We have also lost Jordi Ferrer out of this race and Daedalus Fulgari. So they are both out as far as this goes. So we're down to 13 runners here in this race. JJ to Traveller now looking very aggressive to the inside there. Covered off by Electroshock, just leaving a channel of 1 car width on the inside to make that move. That's not going to work out. And so I think JJ is being really aggressive, trying to find that line. But the outside's not going to work there. It's the drive off the exit of this optional west chicane that gives you the run for the diving turn onto the Samposi straight.
Here we go again. Very close quarters racing as the 75 goes down pit road. In my opinion, all of that effort for nothing, in my opinion, from JJ the Traveller. What great fighting and great racing from him just for the 75 to go down pit road before he could make the move into turn 1. I was a little bit excited for that, I gotta admit. As the 75 overshoots their stall, let's jump back on board with Kara Karatast up in the lead, coming back around through the final chicane and down the hill, 4.3 seconds ahead of Danak Kalmari. Question is, how much longer will they be continuing to set the pace? There's not a whole lot of fuel left in that car, especially since they've been running pretty much by themselves the entire race so far. As we approach halfway, 1 minute to 30 in this race at Lime Rock Park in the chicane configuration. Number 19 at Kara Caritas. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I think Kyra can be really happy with the work that has been set out here. It's built a nice margin. It's just managing the gap out there at the front. Danak Kalmari, I think, is going to have to go out there and find something super aggressive, because this is suddenly turning into a race for second rather than it is a race for the lead, because Jordi Carrera here has just been sat on the back, not willing to make a move, just to put the pressure in the back of shot. You will see this will be the first time Carrera pulls to alongside, tries the outside line at this optional west bend, doesn't quite get it to work, but has now for the first time shown an intention, Pat, of wanting to make a pass.
JJ Traveler still just went down pit road this time. I thought they were already down pit road. Apparently I'm losing my mind over here. Jordi Carrera still putting the pressure on the 54, really trying to send one up the inside. Has to break that little bit earlier, getting that tighter turn into turn 1. 54 just ahead. As we start seeing a little bit of lap traffic. JJ Traveler, I believe that is, just in front of him. 54 and the 89 really putting it into a dogfight now as we get settled in to the final half of this race. We are officially halfway. 89 is all over the bumper of the 54 as we charge down through the S's and into the uphill chicane once again.
That was a half chance to make that move, but Danak Kalmari was equal on the brakes into the uphill. And now with traffic, because JJ Traveler is a lap down, you're now trying to use traffic potentially as your pick to go and get that sorted. It's almost like you're trying to get the pick and roll if you're the New York Knicks over against the San Antonio Spurs. It's that sort of feel that you're trying to get if you're Jordi Carrera, but the issue that you're going to run into is that you need to be close enough in order to see that block in play. They run along the San Posi Straight towards turn number 1. You don't see any move that's brought in. It's a very shallow line initially there from Danak Kalmari, which almost sees Jordi Carrera buried into the boot. But for the time being, I think this is a very defensive stance just before the pit window.
Couldn't agree with you more. Time and fuel are running out, most importantly. Jordi Carrera with a sudden move up to the inside through the S's, side by side into the chicane. This is the battle for second now. 54 forcing him over the curbs. 89 doing the same. 89 running over the curbs. Contact! No! 54 around. I'm trying to get to a better camera. Hang on. I don't have one. Danak Kalmari getting spun around through the chicanes at the top of the hill. Jordi Carrera with a bit of a dirty move. We'll have to go back and take a better look at that post-race in case of anything. But Jordi Carrera finally up to second place with a beautiful move, in my opinion. That was a perfectly legal move, but staying side by side through that tight chicane up the hill is just never going to work in any car. It's just not a good idea.
I'm going to argue that Danak didn't leave racing room there for Jordi Carrera, and Jordi was going to be stuck over on that outside curb. He was shuffled over to that right-hand side, nowhere else to go but onto it, tried everything to try and avoid, and there was a little bit of a net code on the contact as well to go by. So never ideal here as it unsettled and forced Danak into the problem and the spin, but Danak was trying to be aggressive there, trying to stand his ground on the brakes. And ultimately, Jordi Carrera kept his foot in and said, look, you're going to have to cleanly leave me the room up the chicane. And I don't think Danak did, and I think he paid the price for his own action.
Looking back at it a little bit more, I couldn't agree with you more. Danak, again, as we've been saying, a lot of over-aggression out here at Lime Rock Park as we continue into the final half of this race. Danak forcing the 89 a little bit too wide across the chicane as he dives down pit road this time very fast. trying to get it slowed down into the, I believe it's a 25-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit, jumping back up to Keira Caritas, 10 seconds ahead, almost 11 seconds ahead of Jordi Carrera in second place. Isaac Umbris down in third, 4.5 behind him. Still plenty of racing left to go. The real question is, how long will Keira Caritas be able to keep going without having to stop?
I think for Kyra, this is going to be a case of just see the rest of the field behind make their stops and just go when the tank is dry in to make that pit service. Or if you're scared maybe of Ruku Takahashi nearly losing the Briers going through, this would be a good time to get out and into the pits. And on cue, there comes the pit stop. 32 laps done there by Kyra Caritas, and now it's going to be up to Jordi Carrera to take the mantle, to lead a lap here of this race, and we'll now be turning and looking here for this second half that goes through, because we're down to just 25.5 minutes to go here in this one. This is now to try and consolidate second. I think Kyra's too far down the road as far as pit stop has now been concerned.
Jordi Carrera and Ramon Serra, excuse me, I'm going to keep messing that up. Both now have the question of a lifetime. Do they try and pit in this time by, or do they try to make up as much time as they can, knowing that they're going to be losing easily 30 or 40 seconds in a pit stop, I believe. I haven't been timing it myself, but we still have plenty of time out here for a lot of action to happen as Keira Caritas comes back out in third, 26 seconds behind the leader at the moment. Isaac Umbris down in fourth, almost 35 seconds down, additional 10 seconds behind Keira. We come down the hill and past the start finish, or down the front stretch, excuse me, with the 89 of Jordi Carrera, still leading the way after a lap.
Yep, so is definitely looking to extend longer out there to say, okay, I can go further than anybody else, and I will have to try and say I am going to basically put myself down in a position and basically get as far forward, as much clean air as possible, make that final stop and go, right, I'm going to run with the car as light as possible. And a lot of drivers like running the car as light as possible, saving that fuel, not having as much to go and navigate through in terms of having a heavier car, because ultimately, the less that you have, the less weight that you have, car's going to be more chuckable into the corners, it's going to be lighter, it's going to be faster. And one thing that all racing drivers want to do, they want to be fast.
Couldn't agree with you more. The lighter weight cars will actually help you conserve your tire just a little bit more as the 89 comes down pit road this time. Ramon Serra, coming off of the final turn, will be your new race leader, this time by 36 minutes and 35 seconds into this race. Just under 25 minutes to go out here at Lime Rock Park. Number 93 of Ramon Serra leading the way out here tonight.
Yep, so now the changes come into play, and these stops, you just get one after the other then that tiptoes off, and it is the teammates again that are making the differences then in terms of where their stops lie. So Jordi Carrera out of the pits is going to come out behind Keira Caritas then for position, and is going to have a lot of work to do in the second half of this race. But up through the uphill, Ramon Serra, representing from Andorra, tiny little nation that is squeezed in between Spain and France, and is a tiny little buffer margin between the pair of them in the Pyrenees. Ultimately, for Ramon Serra, this is going to be a case of I'm going to be happy with my time in the race lead, but where am I going to come out in comparison? I'd be looking around at Isaac Umbris here as the very interesting party when this stop comes to play.
Ramon Serra down pit road as we jump back over to Keira Caritas. Excuse me if I've been saying that wrong all night. I do not know what my problem is today, because apparently I have one. As they charge down the front stretch, Ramon Serra will be going back down to second place at minimum. Caritas back up into the lead of this race, 38 minutes in. Still plenty of time for other cars to get back up into the mix. Jordi Carrera, with a later stop, managed to probably get maybe tires, I don't know. But if they did get tires, that extra grip in the later half of this race will be a godsend, knowing just how hard these guys are all using up their tires out here tonight at Lime Rock Park as we approach the 40-minute marker, 20 minutes to go.
So, 20 minutes left. It means that you're just going flat out to try and find the finish. You just got to try and hit your marks, get to the level where you know, okay, this is where the end of the race sits for me. And Kyra Karatash is going to be saying, okay, big margin, 7 seconds. Don't do anything silly, don't spin, don't make a mistake, because the one thing that this car does when you spin it, it takes a long time to gather up the speed again. So what you'll find in faster cars, if you have a spin, is you can get back up to speed quicker. Not in these cars. It takes a while because you find yourself in the low revs. This is a car that likes being up in the higher revs by comparison. If you're in the low revs, you don't spool as quickly as you can, and you just basically just get the low-end grunt of the car, just doesn't want to go anywhere. That's why often you find, say, in the Toyota Challenge North America, for example, Pat, they always run rolling starts and not standing.
I find that a bit comedic, considering the turbo controversy from their rally days back in the 80s and 90s, with their last generations of Celicas that they were building in 94 and 95 in the Group A series, where they were creating bypasses for the turbochargers just to make their cars that little bit faster. But yes, I agree, these cars do not like the low rev RPMs. These cars really need to be driven the absolute snot out of in order for them to be polite with you. You really got to work these cars in as we charge down the front stretch. Kara Karatast 6.7 seconds ahead of Jordi Carrera, 7.9 ahead of Isaac Umbras. Top three almost 8 seconds apart from each other at the moment. Caritas still leading the way as we are officially under 20 minutes to go.
So I counter that point to you in the sense that Toyota didn't have the full oversight of what was being done with the Celica turbocharger and the 5mm gap that was created back in 1995 in the World Rally Championship, because what Toyota did as a company is that they pulled out as a factory and said, right, you can have our cars to do what you like with them. So they didn't have the oversight of what was happening. So when they got pinged about with arguably the greatest exploit in all of motorsports, the parent company had absolutely no idea, Toyota in Japan, what was being done by the Toyota Rally team with the issue that they had. So they had no compliance, and basically that Toyota Rally team had 1995 chalked off, and 1996 they couldn't do anything either in the world of rallying. That's why they had to come back in 1997 and switch their car up away from the Celica and over towards the next generation of rally cars that came into play, and they soon found themselves up very much near the top before they ran into a Tommy Mackinnon out there in that spec. So it's a different homologation, it's a different series out there, and so it runs to different rules and spec, and Toyota very much have a lot of oversight on it, especially Toyota North America, and so this car runs very, very differently in terms of what it does on a turbocharger to what you would see, say, for example, when you're trying to get the best out of a 300 brake horsepower rally car.
Fair points, I will agree. I will admit to that. But still, in my opinion, it's just funny to me sometimes. It's like, well, someone had to R&D that a little bit more than just, you know, the run-of-the-mill rallycross team. Sometimes that just feels like, you know, maybe they had some help. But as we go down into the field, let's start jumping back down into the field a little bit more, get away from the leaders. JJ Traveler under a bit of pressure from David Katz right behind him. About a second, or a half second behind, excuse me. Last two cars on the lead lap fighting it out for 8th at the moment as we come off of the final turn and down the front stretch. JJ Traveler and David Katz with about a car and a half between them, really racing each other all over the racetrack. 41 of David Katz braking a little bit early, knowing that the 45 had the proper line through turn 1 and into turn 2 we go. 45 of JJ Traveler really putting on a good show out here tonight in 8th place. David Katz right there behind him, trying to keep the pressure on. These two fighting it out are only losing time to Biggie Hugs, though, just ahead of them up the road, about 4 or 5 seconds up at the moment. Very wide over the curbs, once again, as we're on board with a bit of helicopter cam. I have no control over that. I just have it on TV mixed, and it sometimes works.
So I'd look at David Katz and the laps that he has been doing. So he's been in the mid to low 104s. JJ has been in the 104s and just dipped into the 103s on that last lap. So he's trying to extend that margin, which he has made the move on that last lap, and now looking to try and pull away. Something that we have missed, though, is the fact that Electroshock has had to come in for a second pit stop. I don't think it was for damage. I think it was for not setting the right amount of fuel in the car, and so that secondary stop about 5 or 6 laps later has now put the 75 1 lap down in 12th place, trying to chase down Ruki Takahashi.
Maybe it also is a bit of strategy. Sure, you're going to lose some time in pit road, but again, the idea of a 2-stop strategy, reduce your fuel load just that little bit more to help you in the later stage of the race, fuel up just enough to make sure you have it to the end, is not always a bad idea. I understand that this is a fixed setup race, so you can only have so much fuel, but this is what the great thing about spec racing is. You can adjust very minute things, you know, fuel levels, traction control, ABS, stuff like that. Not a whole lot you can be done to these race cars in terms of overall suspension and gearbox adjustment and final drive and all that kind of stuff. But you have plenty that you can work with just with the weight alone in the fuel cell and your traction control, as well as your tire pressure. As we continue watching David Katz starting to fall away a little bit here from JJ Traveler, but putting on a good show out here tonight regardless. He is only down 1 position, having started in 8th and currently down in 9th. That's not a bad run out here tonight from the number 41.
It's not bad at all, but I'll tell you what is starting to get close and juicy. Jordi Carrera and Isaac Umber, as the race for second has suddenly ignited a little bit more. And that gap, you can see it on screen, down to half a second as they've crossed the line. So Isaac Umbers now is slowly trying to reel in and find the right time to strike here. In through turn 3, here the left-hander before running into the right-hander off of the S's here and getting yourself along the no-name straight. They are really pushing the margins right out to the extremities of the circuit here. So this is going to be about finding enough of a lane that you can get to chase it down. It's a little deep from Isaac Umbers, and you can see he has to take a lot more rotation of the steering wheel up through the S's. That's going to cost all that time and then some.
Again, question is who took tires and who didn't. Isaac Umbers starting to struggle a little bit out here in terms of grip. I'm assuming not many people did, considering the field is, all things considered, still pretty tight together. 9th place, still under a minute behind the leader. Again, Lime Rock is just one of these racetracks that is renowned for getting very hot and for shredding tires, as Tsukuba has been as well in recent memory. These racetracks are not always the greatest to do all of this heavy racing on, unless you really rubber them in first, and I don't know what the track condition was, but regardless of it, the track temperature is really destroying these tires out here, proving difficult for a lot of drivers as we continue settling in to the final 15 minutes, actually about final 12 minutes of racing left to go. Still on board with the 89 of Jordi Carrera. Isaac Umbras goes a little bit deep again, still falling back a little bit, almost 2 seconds down off of Carrera now. We go through the final chicane and down the hill once more.
So I would be keeping a very close eye here on what Isaac Umbridge is going to be finding in terms of pace, because Jordi Carrera has been doing well. This is a notorious circuit for shredding left-hand side tyres, because you've got to do all the work with it as you go about. But also at the same point, track has been cooling. It's cooled 4 Celsius over the course of this race, which to me would say about, 8 to 10 Fahrenheit it's gone down with since the start of the race to where we are now. Big difference out there. Gives a huge amount to say, right, we can go a little bit quicker, we can be a little bit more aggressive, we can attack a little bit more, as we're at an in-sim time of just gone 4 in the evening. And Lime Rock Park actually as well has a very unique scenario out there in terms of its racing, because we're actually doing something you can't do in the real world, Pat, around Lime Rock Park. You can't race on a Sunday.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but
But
the more you know.
Seriously, you can't race on a Sunday because it's an agreement on the noise levels out there between them and the church that is in the village of Lakeville, which basically says we agree not to race on a Sunday so that you don't get your church services basically interrupted. It's exactly the same agreement that you actually have here in the UK with Alton Park.
At a few of the museums I've volunteered at in the state of Connecticut as well. We also have noise ordinances for no late night running, because I was essentially a conductor at a museum, railroad museum. Yeah, we couldn't do anything later than 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we could not be running before 8 a.m. Eastern Standard for noise ordinance, and I believe it was 9:30 and 10:30 for Sundays, AM and PM. But yes, regardless, coming down to the final 10 minutes of racing here, Jordi Carrera and Isaac Umbras still having a decent battle out here. Umbras starting to reel him back in within a second and a half of Jordi Carrera. Excuse me, I'm fumbling everybody's names out here today. God, what is wrong with me? As we continue down the front stretch, I don't know who that is just ahead of them. I believe
that's Black Hawk.
That's Black Hawk.
So this will be interesting because it's the question of can they use Black Hawk Arc as a pick or not in their battle. There will also be the battle between Ramon Serra and Biggie Hugs, which will be going on for 6th place. But right now, working through 3 into turn 4, I think Isaac Umbras right now is looking at Jordi Carrera, and I don't think he's got enough of his own accord. I think he's going to need a little bit of help here to get that gap back. It's going to take a few laps to try and really claw this one into a position where you can be aggressive with it. But the 722, I think, is looking at 3rd. I might be turning around at this with Danat Kalmari in 4th. Do you just take the points and roll on into round 3?
That is a very good question at this point. Here at Lime Rock Park, under 10 minutes to go, 9 minutes to go, probably by the time we get to the line, on board with the 722 of Isaac Umbras. Down the front stretch we go once again. That is a real question, yes. There is nothing wrong with settling for 3rd out here today with a fantastic run, having started in 3rd. Top 3 all started in their original positions, and they are running there now. 19 of Keira Caritas, Jordi Carrera, and Isaac Umbras all running 1, 2, 3 after qualifying 1st, 2nd, and 3rd out here at Lime Rock Park. They're doing some great racing out here. Isaac Umbras, yes, there's nothing wrong with trying to get that extra position, get the more points out here today as we go through the uphill chicanes once again. But the real question is, how hard are you willing to really fight for that position as we start seeing the 25 of Blackhawk get in the way of this battle? Blackhawk now between the 2 cars, racing for 2nd place. 722 trying to get around, but
that's going to compromise the line.
Yep, trying to stay out of the way to go down the front stretch once more, but that has cost him dear amount of time to Jordi Carrera, as he is now almost a second and a half behind again. All that ground, almost 2 seconds behind now, excuse me, all that ground to make up again with only 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go.
So that's going to be a nightmare to try and chase down. I think now would be a great time with a Boeing left in the race, a 747, to take an eye at Ramon Serra and the battle on for 6th. Because what a run by Biggie Hugs this has been here. Only driver up double digits, and that's overcommitted in through turn 1. Ramon Serra trying to get to scare tactics to get as big and as wide in the mirrors as possible, but you're not going to move Biggie Hugs that way.
What a send from the 93 of Ramon Serra. Really trying to push the envelope here as we go through the S's and onto the no-name straight, down into the chicanes once again. Biggie Hugs really making that GR86 Cup car as wide as possible as we go through the chicanes. A little bit over that no-clip curb once again, but the 93 side-by-side with him into the top-end chicane. Side-by-side 93 sends it deep. 14 still on the inside, over the grass a little bit, both of them on the inside of both turns and down the hill, still door to door as we go through the final turn. Will there be contact? They're trying to keep things respectful. 14 with a good run off the final turn, 93 right there beside him as we charge down into turn 1, side drafting off of each other. This is the battle for 6th at the moment, still side by side, both break late. Managed to keep it going, 93 of Ramon Serra. Just doesn't have it into the first turn.
Not yet, though. Oh, and he's going to be too deep there. There's contact front to rear. That's going to really shake and unsettle the 93 of Ramon Serra. The Andorran's going to have to look around at the Australian Biggie Hugs, who holds the ground brilliantly and says, I ain't going to move for nobody here. You are not going to let me turn and lose a position out on track. Again, up the hill is where Ramon Serra seems to be a little bit better in regard here with just under 6 minutes to go. The chucks are going to be critical through each and every corner, but for the moment, I think you're going to need a lap or two to settle, regroup, and go again.
They might have another opportunity to do so as we come off the final turn and down the front stretch. We may see one as soon as the uphill chicane. Biggie Hugs in the 14 trying to stay to the inside, block that line. 93 of Ramon Serra trying to go wide on the outside, braking just that little bit later. Flip over, camera, thank you. 93 still trying to run him down, only about a car and a half length between the two of them. This is some great action out here. This is the best part about spec racing. Everything's usually pretty close. It's all down to the talent of the drivers and just how well you know your racetracks. As the 14 continues to do some great driving out here. Sure, they're not battling for the lead, but this is some great racing regardless. This is some serious fighting. As the 93 goes to the outside once again, we might see the move into the final chicane here and into the downhill before the last turn.
Lunged a little bit too deep there, and it's going to stymie over the curb, and so it's again another case of you're not going to quite get that move, and actually the run's going to be lost for the all-important downhill final diving turn. So this is going to give a gap now for Biggie Hugs to try and work with, to try and defend, and as that's happened, Isaac Umbras, the teammate of Biggie Hugs, has pulled down the gap to Jordi Carrera to 0.4 of a second. So this is a chance to really start saying, look, late on in this race, there are still positions to be decided, and Jordi Carrera here has got to be very, very alert to what's going on in the mirrors.
Almost 2 or 1.5 cars behind. Isaac Umbras we're on board with again in the 722. Jordi Carrera still trying to lead the way at the moment. Less than half a second, I believe, between the two. Carrera trying to break the slipstream, going on the inside for the defense as we go under 4 minutes to go here at Lime Rock Park, here with the Aino Image iRacing Cup here in the GR86 cars. Still plenty of action to be had in these final 3.5 minutes. Isaac Umbras very slow through turn 1, losing a lot of time on the 89 of Jordi Carrera just ahead of him. But they are slowly reeling in Keira Caritas. They're within 6 seconds once again. Not going to be enough of a pace at this point of the race. Maybe if we had, another hour of racing to go, I'd say they have a good chance of getting back up and fighting her for the lead. I just don't think it's going to happen unless there is a monumental crash. Keira Caritas will most likely be your winner out here today at Lime Rock Park. Under 3 minutes to go as we charge down the hill once more. Jordi Carrera still pulling away.
Yeah, and building that gap back up once more. So that's enough to say safety is there in its guise at this point. I'd be quite happy to see that margin pull out then as we have 2:42 remaining on the clock, which means you're into the crunch time. These are desperate moments here. If you want an extra point, if you want an extra place, you've got to really try and throw it. If you're David Katz against JJ to Traveller, for example, if you're Biggie Hugs and Ramon Serra out there battling, everywhere you look, there is going to be something there. It's not close enough yet. JJ to Traveller's got a gap, but now Ramon Serra, look at that in the back of shot, is side by side, looking to go for this race move. Gonna have to go to the outside to get it done. Biggie Hugs leans on the door on the front and says, no, you are not alongside enough to get this pass done. I will bully you out my way.
2 minutes of racing left. We might have 3 laps, or yeah, I'd say 3 laps
it's
left
2
if
now
we
at the
don't
line.
take. Huh?
It's 2 at the line.
2 at the line, my apologies. 2 laps of racing left at the line. Biggie Hugs really giving the doors and the fenders to this 93, really being aggressive, nothing wrong with that. But again, what is it going to cost you if you use it too much? Ramon Serra really leaning on Biggie Hugs as we come into the top end chicane once again, side by side again. Over the grass we go. Still fender to fender, putting their fenders on each other and the bumpers on each other as we go down the hill once again. You don't want to be spinning yourself out. You don't want to take each other out with the final minute of racing left here at Lime Rock Park. You don't want to be doing anything stupid, in my opinion, as we come down to the dying laps of this race. Nothing worse than losing it on the final lap, as we saw with Toyota at Le Mans all those years ago.
Yeah, that one, of course, was not of their own help out there, just lost the power for it, and the last lap soon to start for Kyra Karatash, who is out there and has just been dominant from the front of the field and working, and now he's finding that margin and doing just a wonderful job of managing the race. A gap of 6.2 seconds as it was over the line, and we'll see whether that has increased or decreased as they've worked forward for it, and ultimately it's down to 5.4, but there's not much more to say except you got to just give yourself the margin and just cool it down between now and the end of this one. Working hard through is the battles that we've got out there, because still Ramon Serra and Biggie Hugs are still trying to go at it now for their places. Jordi Carrera's just got enough of a gap in the background there with Ruki Takahashi in between, but climbing the hill for the final time. This is what a race day is all about. You've got to just chuck it in with everything you've got. Say, I want to manage this race from the front of the field. It's up to everyone else to come and stop me, and certainly not what you saw from anybody else out there to go and say, I am close enough. While there was contact between Danak and Geordie behind, it's a case of up to the front and nobody could wrestle it away. Kyra Karatash to the line, wins at Lime Rock Park.
Absolute masterclass from Kyra Karatas, excuse me if I've been saying that wrong. Jordi Carrera across the finish line in second place. Isaac Umbras in third. Commendable effort from the both of them towards the end of the race, giving us quite the show for the battle for second between each other. But absolute masterclass from Kyra Karatas out there in the number 19, started on pole and finished in first. Sure, with the green flag pit stops, but it worked out in the end. Absolute masterclass.
It's absolutely incredible stuff. Biggie Hugs does hold out Ramon Serra over to the line. There was contact on the final lap, front to rear, but not enough for Ramon to get it done. And then the final cars, then it's David Katch who is going to take the finish then down in pit lane, get an early run out of Lakeville, Connecticut, and over to the third round of the championship, going down the eastern seaboard over to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Roval round. That'll be coming up for round 3. But lovely racing throughout, but critically, Kyra Karatash, I think, has put down a gauntlet to say, I am the new fastest driver out there, taking that advantage over Danak Kalmari in fourth of 17 seconds, and that is going to be a bit of a gut punch for the Finn.
Couldn't agree with you more. They just ran away with the front of the race, just never looked behind, and just made sure that the only direction that mattered in the end was forward as they pull up to their pit stalls, ready to despawn for the day after a great day of racing here at Lime Rock Park. I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know what else to say. That was some great racing out here today.
Yeah, it was brilliant stuff, and critically, the winning margin, 5.7 for Kyra Karatash over Jordi Carrera, with Isaac Umbras getting the last spot on the podium then at 8.2 off the pace. You then got Danak Kalmari fourth, and Zul Akihara had a very, very nice fifth place finish out there, gained 5 over the course of the race. Biggie hugs from the back of the field to 6th, a gain of 10, your biggest mover, holding off Ramon Serra over in 7th, with JJ Traveller 8th place from a starting position of 4th, and that leads to David Katz and Dirty Kohai, your top 10, as Electroshocks, Ruku Takahashi, and Black Hawk Arc would be 1 and 2 laps down respectively, and out of the race, Daedalus Fulgiri, along with Jordi Ferrer Moreno and Joao Marquez, retiring at 40 laps adrift. Pat, I believe you got some friends to talk to.
Yes, we do. We have Kara Caritas up here. Let's get them in the booth. Kara Caritas, this is Pat Wilkinson and Jake Sparry up in the booth. Do you got us?
Hello, guys.
Hang on one second. Need to make that a little louder. Congratulations on a masterclass win out here today at Lime Rock Park. Started on the pole and finished in first. What a masterclass effort out there. Talk us through some of that.
Yeah, it was really good pace. I'm really happy for that. I love this car. I love this track, and this combo is awesome. Yeah.
In terms of how you've been looking to set up this race, you managed to get yourself to the front and just manage the race basically from the way that the jump went. You got the gap that you wanted, and I think turn 1 would have given you the biggest smile possible, seeing 4 wide in your mirrors.
Yeah, I saw the mirrors. Someone goes off the track, and I think I was really comfortable in the race. I'm happy. Yeah.
So in that regard now, you hold yourself with a big victory here at Lime Rock Park. Now you go from a dedicated circuit over to a roval at Charlotte. Does that change your mentality going into the next round?
Yeah, I think I can something in the Charlotte. We will see. I don't know.
I think that's a case of wait and see. Well, Kyra, go celebrate. It's a huge victory for you today here at Lime Rock Park, and you take round 2 here of the Aino Image VTuber Cup.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I didn't pull them back out of the radio booth before they finished their sentence. My apologies if I did. Let's get Jordi Carrera up in here. Jordi Carrera.
Space and
Pat Wilkinson and Jake Sparry up in the booth. Do you got us? Jordi?
Yeah?
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
Welcome up to the booth. Congratulations on a fantastic second place finish. 5.6 seconds behind the leader of Kara Caritas, but a heck of a battle with Isaac Umbras right behind you for the majority of the race. Talk us through some of that action.
Thank you. It was a very hard race at the beginning, to the finish, but was very funny, yeah?
Very much so. Buenos tardes, first and foremost. And Jordi, the fight between you and Denak, I would like to get to at this point in time. Going through the uphill, you're stuck on the outside with nowhere to go. Or on the inside, getting stuck on that curb. Do you feel there was any more that could be done to avoid an incident, or do you feel like that was always going to be inevitable?
I tried to avoid the contact, but I hit the banana, and the car jumped, and I hit the other guy, and we lost control. Maybe with a little bit more of space, we can avoid that, but it's no problem.
Well,
what do
no
you
problems
think?
No problems at all in terms of that we would hope to see. But for you, jumping in, getting yourself in to start this season off here from round 2, how important is it now to just continue to build on a result like this?
I don't know. It's my first time in this channel, in this race, but it's very competitive and a lot of people here. It's a pleasure can enjoy the races.
Well, I would say you're enjoying it very well, and we hope that you get the chance to enjoy the racing action at Charlotte in 3 weeks' time there. Jordi Carrera joining us then with a second place finish overall, Pat.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us up in the booth, Jordy. Congratulations on a fantastic P2 out here today at Lime Rock Park, and we can't wait to see you at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
Let's get Isaac Umbras in here, and I think that will be the end of our broadcast for today. Isaac Umbras, welcome up to the booth. This is Pat Wilkinson and Jake Sparry talking to you.
Hi there.
Oop, session just ended. I guess that's where that goes. Oh well. Sorry, something on my end. Don't worry about it.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Isaac, congratulations on a fantastic P3 out here today at historic Lime Rock Park. Talk us through some of those battles with the 89 of Isaac Umbras. 89 of Jordi Carrera. My apologies. I'm reading my timesheet wrong, even though I'm looking right at it.
Oh my gosh, the Jordi, they were ridiculously quick. Like, there were times when I was like, okay, like a 10th here, a 10th there, and then like something would happen. I get like just a little bit loose, and they pull back the gap and everything. And it was just, on one hand, it was really, really fun because like we were keeping each other honest. On the other hand, it was a little bit frustrating as well because like, I know I can catch them, but it was so difficult. But it was fun though. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, big props to the other two podium drivers as well. They put on an absolute stellar race. Honestly, like the top like 5, 6, 7, 8, super quick. Holy moly, it's really competitive. I was watching a lot of like the timing and everything. It was really fun.
Right, let's talk the ability of this race and seeing the drivers and the caliber that's around, because saying that you started third and finished third, I don't think tells the full story of how you had to gather it up here, and especially with the fuel tank restrictions as well. How much were you keeping an eye out on what everyone else was doing strategy-wise?
Oh, yes. So I had done a lot of like testing and a lot of number crunching, all that stuff ahead of time, seeing roughly how long a pit stop would take, and how long it would take with like a certain amount of fuel and everything. And it was, I was trying to like mentally run the numbers back, looking at the timing sheets and everything on the heads-up display of, okay, this person is this far back. Okay, this person is pit now. All right, I think if I pit here, I'm going to be in clear air, and that is going to let me get the best run up to potentially a podium again. It wasn't easy though. Early in the race, I got, I don't know if there was contact or not, but it went just a little bit wide. Turns like 1 and 2, big bend, and I went off track there. But I'm so glad I managed to gather it back up. It was a fun race.
Critically for you, it's 18 very important championship points. It allows you to claw back the gap from 5 to 4 over to Danat Kalmari, who is struggling about there today. Are you looking here after 2 rounds of the championship now, starting to think about, okay, can I now start putting a title challenge together heading to Charlotte in 3 weeks' time?
Oh, that's going to be a tough one. The series they're going to be doing, there is a lot of like variety of tracks that we're going to be going to. Charlotte, of course, is the Roval and everything, so you got to get really used to a little bit of the drafting battles that'll be happening on the oval there. And round 4, it's going to be the dirt track, right? So that is going to be a completely different test of skill as well, compared to Lime Rock, which itself was very, very different from Tsukuba. So honestly, I think with the variety of the tracks and just the sheer amount of the talent that we have here, I still think that the championship for a lot of people is completely up for grabs. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really great racing. I'm looking forward to it. Regardless, I'm going to do the best that I can, and where I finish is where I finish.
Well, that's all we can ask of you. Isaac Umbras there, Pat, finishing off in 3rd position overall and making good gains here in the Aino Image iRacing Cup.
Couldn't put it better myself. Thank you, Jake, for taking over for some of that as I had to step away for something really quick. Congratulations once again, Isaac, on a fantastic P3 out there tonight. Hope to see you again on July 5th at Charlotte.
Thank you.
Before we sign off for the night, let's just take a quick look ahead at the remainder of the schedule. July 5th, 2026 will be at Charlotte Roval in its 2025 configuration. Round 4 will be at Limaland for some good old dirt track racing in the GR86 cars. We were originally going to go with USA Speedway, but due to some testing, we found that it was going to be more fun and more entertaining to do Limaland with its shorter track design. So can't wait to see some of the slide job specials that we'll be seeing over there. July 26th, we'll be back at... we are still deciding whether we're going to go with Laguna Seca or a new track. We are yet to decide. We will have a poll up in the chat either later today or tomorrow morning before I go to work. August 16th, we'll be at Atlanta, Road Atlanta, for the full course. And then for the season finale, we will be at Watkins Glen on September 6th at Watkins Glen at the boot setup.
So a whole heap of amazing action that will to be coming around. I won't be here for round 3 of the championship, unfortunately, but I'm sure, Pat, there'll be some amazing racing action to come along, especially with the nature of drafting being so sequential with Charlotte Roval, that run that you get over to the 2 mega chicanes, I think are going to make a world of difference. The only place you can catch that, of course, is here with the racing action that we have in the Aino Image iRacing Cup here on Tier 1 Studios. If you haven't done so already, good time to like and subscribe is now. But as far as it goes, a strong day for Kyra Karatash, who will now open up the account, trying to pull the points back. Consistency will be king throughout the rest of the season, but for the moment, it's Isaac Umbras who will be leading the chase of Danat Kalmari.
Thank you all for watching today here on Tier 1 Studios here on YouTube. We thank you all for watching. Jake, it has been a pleasure working with you once again. Thanks for putting up with my bullshit once again out here at Tier 1 Studios and the Aino Image iRacing Cup in the GR86 Cup cars. This has been another fantastic day of broadcasting. Thanks for joining me once again.
Pleasure.
Until next time, my friends, this has been the Aino Image iRacing Cup here on Tier 1 Studios, brought to you in part by Tier 1 Setup Shop, Tier 1 Wraps, and Tier 1 Studios here on YouTube. My name's Pat Wilkinson, joined by Jake Sparry up in the booth, and until next time, goodbye, farewell, and amen.
Yeah. Fired up. This one's for the drivers. Out in the shop, late night lights, grease on our hands, chasing lap times, every turn, every line we find. Trying to build that edge you feel when you drive. From the blacktop tracks to the dirt out back, we've been putting in work, yeah, we live like that. Not just fast for a lap, we make it last. So when it counts, you're gone on the gas. We don't guess, we know what it takes. Every setup built from the ground, we break. If you want that feel when the car locks in, you're in the right place. Let's go win. Yeah, we built one. Yeah, we built for the win. Hammer down, let it ride, do it all again. From the green flag flying to the checkered drop, with a reason you're leading Tier 1. Setup shop, Tier 1. Take it straight to the front. League nights, open runs with the ones you want. Dialed in speed, yeah, we don't miss shots. If you want to win races, Tier 1 setup shop. Got weekly sets ready, ready to roll. Quality trim sharp, race pace control. Builders in the lab, yeah, they stay on it. Every tweak, every change, we gain on it. Need a custom fit, yeah, we do that too. Built to match your style, what you like to do. And it ain't just speed, it's a team right here. We ride together every lap, every gear. Yeah, we test, we tune, we put in the miles, turn bad weeks into victory smiles. From rookies to pros, we're all about growth. Now fire that motor, let's get to the front. Yeah, we built for the win, yeah, we built for the win. Hammer down, let it ride, do it all again. From the green flag flying to the checkered drop, we're the reason you're leading tier 1. Set up shop tier 1. Yeah, you know the name. When the pressure's on, we bring the game. From the shop to the track, yeah, we don't stop. If you wanna win races tier 1, set up shop. Yeah, see you in victory lane. Tier 1, set up shop. Tier 1. Tier 1.